I never imagined that a simple night in my quiet little village would turn into something so terrifying. Life here is peaceful, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone and nothing unusual ever happens. Or so I thought. That night started like any other. Our family, my husband John, our kids Ronaldo and Emily and I, sat down for dinner. The smell of warm, freshly made breads filled the house. I'd spent the afternoon making them, and it felt satisfying to see everyone enjoying their meal. But as we ate, Ronaldo suddenly stopped. He had this curious look on his face. "Mom, did you hear that?" he asked. His voice had a hint of fear. I paused. "Hear what?" "A whisper, like someone talking really softly," he replied. I brushed it off. "It's probably the wind, honey. Don't worry about it." But deep down, I felt uneasy. And as the evening went on, that uneasiness grew. After dinner, I went to the kitchen to clean up. It was quiet as usual. John was reading the newspaper, and the kids were playing. But as I put away the dishes, the kitchen light flickered. I frowned. Old wiring, I told myself. But then it flickered again and again, each time more erratic. When I turned to the counter where I'd left the last of the breads, they were gone. At first, I thought one of the kids might have taken them, but something felt wrong. Then I heard it, a soft whisper, "I'm hungry." My heart raced. I looked around, but no one was there. I rushed back to John. "There's something in the kitchen," I told him. "The breads are gone," and I heard something. He looked at me with calm disbelief. "You're just tired. Come, let's go to bed." But I couldn't shake the feeling. Something was there, watching us. That night, I couldn't sleep. The house was silent, but the whispering returned. This time, it was louder. "I'm hungry. Give me more." I got out of bed, careful not to wake anyone, and tiptoed toward the kitchen. The air felt heavy, like something was pressing down on me. The pantry door was open, and I saw a faint light flickering inside. When I stepped closer, I froze. On the counter was a half-eaten bread surrounded by crumbs. But the crumbs weren't just lying there. They were moving, crawling slowly toward the edge of the counter. Then, I heard a noise behind me. The pantry door creaked shut. My heart stopped. The whisper came again, closer this time. "I'm hungry. Give me more." I ran back to our room and woke John. "There's something in the house," I whispered. "It's not normal." The next day, John and I decided to dig into the old village stories. We had always dismissed them as superstitions, but now we weren't so sure. The elders had often spoken of the Shaitani Daayan, an evil spirit that haunted homes. The Daayan was always hungry. They said, feeding on food first, and then on the souls of those who lived there. The stories described her as a twisted figure with glowing red eyes and a hunger that could never be satisfied. John found a ritual in one of the texts. It was dangerous, but it was our only hope. If we didn't act, the Daayan would consume us all. The Daayan reveals herself. That evening, as we prepared dinner, the air grew colder. Ronaldo and Emily were playing, oblivious to the tension. I couldn't focus. Every sound, every flicker of light made my heart race. Then, as we sat down to eat, the kitchen door creaked open. I froze. There she was. The Daayan stood in the doorway, her face pale and twisted, her red eyes glowing with hunger. Her hair was wild, and her bony hands reached for the breads on the counter. She devoured them in seconds, crumbs falling to the floor. I wanted to scream, but my voice caught in my throat. "What do you want?" I managed to whisper. She turned to me, her mouth dripping with crumbs. "I want more," she hissed. "John," and I knew we had to act quickly. That night, we gathered the ingredients for the ritual, salt, fire, and sacred words from the old texts. The Daayan wouldn't leave without a fight. As we began the chant, the house seemed to come alive. The air crackled with energy, and the lights flickered wildly. The Daayan appeared again, her face twisted with rage. She screamed, a sound so piercing it made my ears ring. But we didn't stop. We chanted louder, calling on the spirits to banish her. The air grew colder, and the Dayan lunged at us, but an invisible force held her back. With one final cry, she vanished into the darkness.